Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. Gold and silver are stable in an unstable market. That's exactly what we're seeing in recent times with the stock market, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the NASDAQ, the S&P 500. And you know, those are investments. Stocks, bonds are the most stable of those types of things. But even with those, you know, how stable really can they be in the long run, considering the volatility of everything that's going on around us today? But gold and silver, they hold fast. As of the recording of this video, the stock market broke records in both directions as of late. And on this very day, the market took another huge dive and then recovered and gained after moving massive amounts up and down, 500-600 points in both directions in one day. But what about gold and silver? What do they do in times like these? Well, they tend to move inversely of what the markets are doing, or really what the dollar is doing. That's a closer tie, the dollar index. But people get nervous about the dollar and about our system, about the economy in general when they see the markets move as they have been. So in an unstable market, gold and silver may react, and they may react quickly, or they may not in some cases. Today, gold and silver are up, but in prior days, even when there was some volatility, there wasn't a whole lot of movement because people weren't as nervous when they see the markets move here and there, even though there are signs that people can see in the markets and what's going on, the trends, perceived manipulation, that type of thing. But gold and silver, well, sooner or later, they are going to be the catalyst to move in another way. And essentially, their stability will become apparent because that's where people go to. It's a safe haven. And that's what gold and silver provide. They're forgotten about as an insurance policy. But generally, gold and silver will protect you economically in times of crisis. As of right now, the stock market is in flux. No one really knows how it's going to turn out in the end. We all have our different indicators, and anybody can make an argument in either direction as to where the markets are going to go. I've heard a lot, talked to a lot of different people, read different viewpoints online, but nonetheless, no matter what your viewpoint on where the market is going or where the economy is going, rest assured that these precious metals, gold and silver, will be steadfast. They will hold tight. And that's the one thing that we can agree on. Gold and silver are stable in times of economic instability. What you see before you here are various different coins from the United States. You know, the Constitution talks about how gold and silver should be used as money, and they have been for really most of our history. But nowadays they're not. But this is a view that harkens back to what has the holding of the purse strings, so to speak, what has held us together and held the monetary system, the dollar, together. And that is the metal that is inside of these coins. Each of these coins represents a denomination. For instance, this piece here, it says $10. And it's $10 worth of gold. And that held true for as long as it circulated. This particular piece here, the smallest of our silver coins, is 1 dime, 10 cents worth of silver. Nowadays, this particular piece would trade for a lot more than that. you'd be silly to give 1 dime for this, because it's got a lot more than a dime's worth of silver, because silver has held its value for the most part over those years. It's remained stable. And by and large, the marketplace has recognized the value of silver and gold. Notwithstanding, there's been times where the price has been what we would perceive to be artificially low, or in some other cases, artificially high. Although those few cases are very rare and in between. In fact, I can really only think of maybe 2, maybe 3 times in recent history where the prices have been artificially high for these metals. Nonetheless, we hold them and we understand their value. And that value, for all intents and purposes, is constant. And if only the United States were to go back to a system where we were held and constrained by these metals and the value therein, I think we'd be in a lot better shape. Getting to that point, getting back to that point, is a possibility, but it may only happen under duress, under pure panic. And my guess is probably they've already figured out another system, or another type of reset, and more than likely gold and silver will not be a part of that, even though most of us here in this community feel like it should be. Because if we could get the dollar to be the equivalent of what this silver dollar is, it would give it power. But not just power and strength, but the most important thing is stability, that stable dollar. And if you look at a chart over the years as to what the value and how the dollar has maintained its constants throughout history, it wasn't really until we abandoned this standard to where you saw it becoming devalued over the years. And it's a shame that that has happened. But we're not alone. Every single nation in the world has a fiat system nowadays. And they've tried everything and everything wrong. But if everybody's doing it wrong, then there doesn't have to be a right, because there's no standards. But sooner or later, the people will judge and the people will decide. For thousands of years, the people have decided that gold and silver are money. And every time we've abandoned that system, currencies have failed. We've seen it from the Roman Empire to the German Empire, or other nations that have inflated their currency. So who knows? History tends to repeat itself. The markets are moving. They're moving at a rapid pace. But you know, sooner or later, these markets are going to stabilize in one way or another. The economy may stabilize. And then people will forget about gold and silver, just like they did after the last crisis. But there's others of us who become educated and have held true and held fast and understood what these metals mean and what they mean for our protection economically. So we hold them. And I encourage you, if you don't have any United States constitutional silver or gold, I would suggest to get some. If anything, but for a reminder that harkens back to a time when money meant something, and when you could hold a coin in your hand that had a denomination, and you knew that because of the gold content in this particular coin, that it was going to hold fast and be true, no matter what year it is. This is from 1882. It is $10. It's exactly half the weight of this $20 gold piece. And it was minted in 1910. Constant dollars, indeed. And that is the beauty of gold and silver. It reins us in. And boy, as a nation, and as an economy, and as a system for which we are part of, Does it ever need to be reined in? So post your thoughts below. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to y'all for watching. And remember, gold and silver are money, no matter what governments do. Sooner or later, people will realize that. Again, a multitude of gratitude to y'all for watching. I'd like to encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.